Hi, this video is all about what to do if you can't get in the rear door on a Freelander one. It's not opening, so despite doing the double unlock on the remote key fob, when you press the handle underneath, the window doesn't come down, door doesn't unlock, and you can't get in. So I think this happens on quite a few Freelanders that are getting old, and they're all about 20 years old now. And mine started to get a little bit sticky. I'd press it and it wouldn't work. I'd thump it a few times while holding in the switch, and then it would work, but eventually stopped working completely. And I thought, oh, I should have looked at it sooner. So some people take the inside panel off of the back of the door. You have to get to some screws underneath, which is a little bit tricky. As we can see on my other Freelander, there's 4 Phillips type 1 or Posi Drive type 1 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. And because you have to get in at this sort of angle, very difficult when the door is shut. Of course, some people have managed it. Then you can pull off the plastic cover. The clips at the top are U-shaped, facing upwards. So this top part has to be like lifted off. Theoretically, it might be possible to lever that off with the screws in place, but again, very difficult. And even then, you then got to access the solenoid up to the gap in the door frame, up to where the solenoid is. And if you see my other video on dismantling the lock, then the solenoid is facing the frame of the door. Still quite difficult to get to, but some people have managed it, and pulling on the solenoid will unlock the door. So in the case where the solenoid motor packs up, that's probably the only way of doing it. But in the case where when you press the handle and the window doesn't go down, but you can hear the micro switch clicking. So if we listen very carefully, don't know whether you can hear that, but as I'm squeezing, it's a tiny little dinky noise, dink, dink. Then that shows that the handle is pushing on the micro switch, but the micro switch isn't activating, being recognised, not lowering the window. That means the micro switch has failed or has got too resistive. And I've had a quick look at this already to work out the plan of how I'm going to do it, which I'm now going to reveal to you. It's not a security issue because the car has to be unlocked with the key fob for the door to unlock, and the key is to get to, or the secret is to get to the micro switch, which you can do quite easily without taking off the inside door cover, so it's a lot quicker. And to do that, we have to get to 2 screws. So I've taken 2 screws out here already, so there's a couple of Phillips screws, one there, one there. There's some previous attempted repair on this, and that one was already drilled out. So somebody's replaced this probably for a second-hand one in the past. So it leads me to think that it's reasonably common failure. And I've already pulled this out. I'm going to show you how to do it. I measured the resistance of the micro switch, and although it was still working, it was just too resistive. Probably got corrosion inside it, maybe water, maybe just old age. Too resistive, so it wasn't enough. It wasn't low enough resistance in order to activate the opening of the door and lowering of the window. And so it's quite easy to do. The only issue is what do you replace the micro switch with, which we'll see in a minute. So to get the micro switch containing piece of plastic out, you can, if you get a flat bladed screwdriver, leave it in there, and with a bit of persuasion, pull the whole unit out. Now here I've already cut off the 2 wires. In fact there's 3, but 2 are connected to each other. I've already cut them off from the wires that come down from inside the door. As I say, I had a quick look at this already. 2 of them are connected together, as you can see here, separate wires. But you measure the resistance, they both connect to the same point. So you got, looks like a purple and black, and a black wire and a blue wire. They go to the mic switch, which is in here. And then to take this apart further, we have got a couple of springs, and they will just lift off from their retaining positions. Make sure you don't lose them. Next one. And then might as well take them off to stop losing them. And then to dismantle it further, you've got this rod, which may be behind maybe a bit of tape or something. But you can see here there's a rod. We just push it from the other side. There we go, pull that out. That's the hinge. Then the handle part, or the bit you can push on, comes out. That reveals the microswitch. It's got some numbers, serial numbers on the, or model number on the microswitch. I looked on the internet. There's a few similar matching switches. Certainly some DK1E ones, not quite the same wiring as underneath, which I don't think matters too much, because all we want is some push to make button. You hear it clicking again when you press on that. There's in approximately that position, and connects two wires together. So these will be connected together, and all I believe we've got to do is make a connection between these two. If you haven't got a switch, what you could do temporarily, just to activate the door so you can get in it, is to pull down the wires in here, two black ones, pull it down, there's the blue one. So connect the two black wires together, and if you touch the blue one onto the black, then the door will unlock. I'll only do that if the car's unlocked, so it's not an issue of security, so I don't mind giving away that information. So you can see this original microswitch was held in place by some plastic mouldings, some plastic protruding lugs from the microswitch, which go through the main body and melted in place to hold it there. Already taken off, and actually came off quite easily, so I suspect this has been changed or replaced already. And what I just did was get a screwdriver underneath it, prise it off. Let's see if I can do that again. There we go. And just a bit of super glue to hold it in place while I demo this. So that's the microswitch, and as I say, I didn't have anything exactly the same, but what I'm thinking is we could probably use something like this general purpose push button switch, which are a lot easier to get hold of. I've seen a lot of suppliers of these on eBay UK at least. So we probably could either mount the switch on there if there's room, something like that, and a handle pushing on this. Could probably drill a couple of holes in the body of the case, put a cable tie through and just strap it down, hold that in place. That would probably work quite well. Or we could also do it facing like this way up, drill a hole through there, pop that through it, because the handle also pushes down that way as well, which hopefully will show you. So there's our hole drilled in the case. There's our little push button switch popped in that position. So the hole's about a 10mm hole. Wiggled it around a bit more to probably open it up to about 11. And let's just pop that switch out again and just show you. I cut off the little tabs that are on the side of the switch with a Stanley blade. So it had yeah, a couple of little sort of tab things you'll see comparing the one you buy with this one on either side to make it a nice round fitting. Bent down the contacts so that it clears the hole where this thing's got to go. You'll see that later. Push down to about, let's get that back in again. Quite a tight fit. There we go. To about that sort of level, till it meets the thicker piece of plastic. Then we put the rest of the handle in place, which way around was it? Yep, this way round, roughly. You can see the switch. The springs will hold it back in that position, which we'll put on in a minute. And you can see the push button switch there. That's then activated when we squeeze on the handle, and it goes pretty much fully on and off. So it's an ideal little fitting, and that should do the job. So it's got attached two wires on here, Reattach them, doesn't matter which way around. One to the blue wire, one to the two black wires. In fact, one is black and one is black and purple, I think. They're actually joined together in the same piece of plastic. And that should then be fully working. Reassemble and put it back on the car. So let's put our shaft back in. Recommend a couple of new bits of tape on either end, stop it falling out. Reattach the springs. So here the plastic's got a bit worn, probably some previous bit of hacking around or something, not sure. I suspect maybe this was a second hand one or something. Bit of plastic's come off there as well. If yours looks a little bit different, so don't worry about that. And let's see it working in a minute after we reassemble. So to make the wire connections, I would always recommend soldering if you've got a soldering iron. If you haven't, they're dirt cheap, about £15 or something. Wet the sponge on the stand that comes with it and make sure the end is what they call tinned, so make sure it's shiny metal on it. So I'd recommend tinning the end, put some solder on it till the end is nice and shiny. And somebody taught me soldering many years ago. Actually didn't teach me soldering, but gave me a useful tip, was to say make sure the joint is mechanically strong before you solder it. So the copper of the wire, I poke through the holes of the switch terminals so it's held in place. And if you haven't done soldering before, basically the technique is to bring the soldering iron and the solder together at the point that you want to solder, and don't spend too long time doing it. So that's about right. Do the other one, no more than a second or two preferably. Let just get a better hold on this. Here we go. Right, it's a pretty cold day, so that I think will do. And we'll make the connection with the other wires similarly, soldering it. If you haven't got a soldering iron, then you'll have to try and make do whatever you can. Certainly for connecting the wires, you could use a little terminal block, something like these things. Cut one off, one or two, well, two of them off. You need a little screwdriver to unscrew the screws to clamp them onto the wires. It's assuming they'll fit in the space available, but I'm going to solder mine. Alright, so there's our wires soldered up. Need to get a bit of insulating tape to wrap around those. So that's with the door handle back in place. Let's see if it now works. And indeed it does. The door opens fine. And that's how to fix your door lock. If, like mine, when you press the handle and of course the car's unlocked, the window doesn't come down and the door doesn't unlock. Quite a simple fix, and there we go. Hopefully that'll be useful for a few people. I know some people have asked about it, so thanks for watching. Hopefully that comes in handy. Please subscribe and look out for other videos. Cheers, bye.